Hi, everyone. Just want to welcome you all in here. We're going to be doing a super fun creative writing class with Heather. If you have marked that you are interested or going, you should receive a notification. If you are watching this on the replay, please leave a comment letting us know, and we'll try to respond to any questions or your comments as you leave them and you're going through the replay. So a little bit about Heather. I was just talking with her before we got on and started doing the live. She's a homeschooling mom of a 6-year-old daughter, and she's been creating some amazing unit studies for her child. She's a really out-of-the-box thinker, very creative, and so you're going to find a lot of creative unit studies and crafts and activities on her website. She actually works full-time in addition to homeschooling, doing live classes and creating these super awesome unit studies. Today we're actually going to be doing her Arctic Animal Creative Writing Unit. It's a Mad-Libs style creative writing unit, so it's perfect for all ages from elementary up. Heather is going to give us an overview of the steps a beginning and emerging writers can take to develop a short story. Then you and Heather will work together to create a creative and sometimes silly stories about a variety of Arctic animals. So if your children really like Arctic animals, this will be a great creative writing unit for them. So please bring your kids as well and comment along with the different prompts. Looks like we have 13 people here with us live. Please comment where you're joining us from. We'd love to be able to welcome you to the live video.
Yes, I would add also say ages. I would love to hear how old everybody is. I can't see comments, at least at the moment, so I don't know if I'm doing it wrong. But you'll have to let me know if there's a comment that I should be paying attention to. Oh, there we go. Hi. Hi, Madison. 9, 11, 5. Aw. Getting started young with creative writing. I love it. I love it. 9. Okay. Couple of 9-year-olds. Oh, lots in that group. 7, 10, and 13.
Oh, that's a fun group.
That is a fun group. 11. So we've got a whole bunch of people around the same age. 9, 5, and 30. If we're being technical like that. I turned 39 in a week. So if we're going to be technical. My daughter, unfortunately, isn't here. She is at ninja class. So she is not going to be taking this with us, but I can assure you that I worked with her on these slides and her input is all sorts of in there.
That's
and 30
awesome.
Here too. So we got a couple of 30-year-olds. I love it. I love it. Yes. Super awesome. Well, I hope you guys have fun today. I had a lot of fun creating this presentation. This is not typically included with my creative writing unit, but I might add it to it because I think that it's super helpful. So hopefully you guys agree. I just Mom 32. Yes, let's get a little closer to my old age, please. So if you haven't already, I recommend going to the event description. And there you will find the actual Arctic Animals Creative Writing Unit that you can download for free with a coupon code. It's a little bit easier to follow along. If not, a sheet of paper, not a big deal. So I'm going to take you through my process, but first we are going to start we're going to start with a couple of things here. I guess I need to move my mouse. All right, there we go. Okay. So let's give a little bit of background on what you are going to be doing today. You work for a magazine and you have just received a really, really, really important assignment, a short story about an Arctic animal, but you don't really have experience with creative writing. So, your mission today is to learn as much as you can about the creative writing process so you can submit a story that your editor will love. So, let's get to it. I created a process that can really make anybody a creative writer. This is something that once you get the hang of it, it is so easy to expand upon. So I hope that you guys will be able to do that eventually. It is certainly a process, right? One of the things that I neglected to tell Amelia actually before this is that I have been writing since 2002. I have a book coming out in August. So I have written for lots of different magazines and online publications and New York Times. Like I've written a whole bunch of places, but creative writing is definitely not something I did before I had my daughter and we started homeschooling. As Amelia mentioned, she thinks so differently from me. She is honestly one of the most creative people I've ever met in my life, and she's this, tiny little thing, and her brain just works in amazing ways. So, she has had a huge influence on my creative writing units, and we worked together on this and created something that hopefully will be easy for you guys to follow. Okay. So the basic framework is somebody wants, but so then. So let's talk about what each one of those things means. And then we'll actually get to the fun stuff, which is putting the story together. So somebody refers to who is the main character in your story and giving them a name and a brief description using adjectives and adverbs. One of the things that you will find in the unit that I sent you guys in the description is lists. Let's see if this will work out here. A list of common adjectives, adverbs, all of those things. So I find that to be helpful when you're going through, as Amelia said, mad-libs style. There are all sorts of things you can put into the different spaces that I am going to talk about in a bit. So download that. I do recommend that. If you get nothing else from this, I think that the 100 common adjectives, adverbs, nouns, all of those things with definitions of what a noun even is, I think that you'll find that useful. Okay. So who's the main character and give them a name and a brief description. All right. So next step. Oh yes, thank you for sharing the link and the coupon code just in the comments. That's probably a lot easier than what I said. All right. So, what does your main character want? What is this story about? What is this person trying to do? Or in this case, excuse me, your Arctic animal trying to do? But something is preventing them from getting what they want. Somebody wants, but the problem rears its ugly head at this point in the story. So the main character tries to solve the problem. Now, if you think of a book, right, you have the characters, you have the setting, the plot, and of course, you run into the problem. Typically, the main character doesn't solve the problem right away. That'd be a very boring book. But they try some things first, and then they finally reach a conclusion at the end of the book. At least, at least ones that are not going to like leave you hanging for the second book in the series. But so this is basically how the story ends. Now, I am going to be using in my examples today the Arctic fox. I did not cut this very well. I imagine you guys will do better. I was just being quick about it. But there are these cards. I also have mine on just regular paper, and this is black and white. There's also color, and I recommend printing on cardstock and laminating. But there's the Arctic fox we're going to be talking about today, my all-time favorite Arctic animal, and the puffin at my daughter's insistence. She is a big bird lover, so we had to fit in my favorite and her favorite. This is just how we roll here. She's just as in charge as I am. Okay, so let's go through this. I said all of the different steps, right? But wait, there's more. After you are done writing, there is the editing and revising steps. We are not going to go into that today, but I wanted you guys to have this. So, this is also included in the packet. So, the editing process, let's just talk about the questions you should be asking yourself. Are my words spelled correctly? Do all of my sentences and proper nouns have capital letters? Did I use the correct punctuation? And do my sentences make sense? Those are the basic questions you're going to be asking yourself during the editing process. Now, common misconception, editing and revising, not the same thing. They are often done one after the other, editing first and then revising, and then maybe looking again and doing more editing, but they are not the same step. So, under revising, you're asking yourself, is my writing clear, understandable, and interesting? Interesting is definitely important for a creative writing story. Can I move things around to make my writing more organized? Can I add more details? Can I use more descriptive words? And can I substitute overused words with new words? Again, we are not going to discuss that stuff today. We're just going to get into the story part, but I wanted you to know exactly what those steps were. And again, they are outlined in the packet if you go and download that. Okay. So here is the start of our story. And this is where you're going to get to fill things in. If you have this in front of you, I actually changed it up a little bit from the Mad-Libs part of the packet. I decided to do some things a little bit different just for the class, but it obviously works either way. But this is our basic first sentence. So name is a adverb, adjective, animal. He or she lives in a adverb, adjective, noun. So we got a lot going on here. But this is where we are introducing the main character and giving them a brief description. That is the basic setup of the first step. So this is the somebody. Now, with it filled in, here's our Arctic fox. We There are some interesting names in here. Again, I take 0 credit for for the names, but our Arctic fox is going to be named Frostine. How long is this class? Um, I think it's going to be less than an hour. I don't think we'll go that long. So our Arctic fox is going to be named Frostine. So Frostine is an adorably fluffy Arctic fox. So and because adorably is after it. So adorably is going to be our adverb here. Fluffy is going to be our adjective. And of course, Arctic fox is our animal, which is a noun. So Frostine is going to be a girl. So she lives in a very deep den. So very being the adverb, deep being the adjective, and den being exactly where Arctic foxes live, and that is a noun in this case. So this sentence is going to set up, or I'm sorry, these two sentences are going to set up the basic character of your story. So we are still at that somebody stage. If we move forward, he or she, in our case, it's going to be she, wants to verb. So we're going to bring in a verb here and description of what. So this is the wants part of our story. To fill in with Frostine, she wants to see the Northern Lights. Now, the Northern Lights are something that I am personally obsessed with. I would love to see the Northern Lights one day. My daughter's name is Aurora. The Northern Lights have just a special meaning for me. So if you are interested, I do have lots of Northern Lights units as well as Arctic Foxes just because of my obsession with both. But anyway, so if you wanted to learn more about either one of those. All right, so she wants to see, which is our verb here. And what does she want to see? She wants to see the Northern Lights. She lives in the Arctic, but where she lives, she can't see the Northern Lights. She just happens to be one of the unlucky few that cannot. Now, somebody wants but. So this is our but stage. So but, he, she, or a noun. I'm going to actually use a noun in the next example. But why? Why can't she see the northern lights? That is going to be the next part of our story. And I know I'm probably going a little fast. That's why that's why it's good to pull up the actual document. I think that that will help as well. Um, if if Amelia says it's okay, I'll actually share these slides afterwards too. I can give the link and you can keep it. That's perfectly fine with me. So just let me
Yeah,
know on that.
if you'd like to do that, I can also include it in next week's email as well.
Perfect. I love it. Excellent. All right. So now let's see what Justine's or Justine, Frostine's problem is. She's afraid of the dark. So that presents a problem. I don't know how much you know about the Northern Lights, but they kind of require it to be dark. So she has a big problem going on here. If she wants to see the Northern Lights, it is going to have to be dark. Oh, okay. Well, I hope you get to come back and watch the recorded version. I hope you will have fun doing that. And of course, it sounds like practice is also fun. So good luck with that, whatever sport we're playing there. Okay, so now we are on the next stage. So we did somebody wants, but now we're at so. So he or she tries to, and then a description of that initial solution idea. Remember, this is not going to be the end all be all of our solution. We are going to go beyond that because her first solution doesn't totally work. So let's see what she does. So she tries going during the day, but auroras aren't visible during the day. So that was a failed experiment on her part. She is not familiar with the northern lights, at least the finer points, and she still really wants to see them. She knows what they look like, but she was not aware it was going to be dark. So failed experiment. Our hero in this story, our protagonist is she still wants to see them, but cannot yet. Then is going to be our next stage. So, this is going to be what wraps up our story. So, I have it looks like one sentence here. Typically, it's not. Maybe you can do it simpler than I can or I did in this case, but I actually have a couple sentences here. So, I wrapped it up with in the end, and then we're going to fill in how, when, and where the problem is solved. As you can see, that could sometimes be done in several sentences. So let's see how Frostine figures this out. In the end, she invites her best friends, Snowpaw and Winter, to join her. As the sun goes down, they run north. That's definitely the direction you need to go in for the northern lights. And when they reach the lights, Frostine realizes the dark isn't so scary after all. So that is how our story ends. I want you guys to see it all together. I think that that's helpful as well. Seeing it in pieces, wonderful. Seeing it all together is also very helpful. And this is what you would do if you were creating your first draft. It's going to look like this. And this is where you would go back through and do editing and revising. So, Frostine is an adorably fluffy Arctic fox. She lives in a very deep den. She wants to see the northern lights, but she is afraid of the dark. So, she tries going during the day, but the auroras aren't visible. In the end, she invites her best friends, Snowpaw and Winter, to join her. As the sun goes down, they run north. When they reach the lights, Frostine realizes the dark isn't so scary after all. So that is our short story. Hopefully, that excites you how it all came together and how easy it was to put all the different pieces together and how it really does create a complete story from beginning to end. I would love to see some comments about people, what they thought of the first story, and how they think the process might work for their kids. Or I think I saw some kids commenting as themselves. So, or for you, you like the story? Yay! Smiley face. Now this next one has even more influence from my daughter because I was the Arctic fox and she was the puffin. So, um, yes. That is what I will say for the moment. But I'm glad you liked the story and thought it was cute. All right, so here we go. Our puffin. So I'm going to shortcut to the different steps. So we don't, I'm glad you liked it. So we don't go through each of them in the detail that I did before. All right. So this is somebody. So our puffin is going to be named Frostwing. So Frostwing, here's where we got a little mad libby. I told her to just pick words off of the like hundreds charts. And here's where we are. So Frostwing is a proudly ancient puffin. Because why not? He lives in a hideously purple car. You can see why why this is a little bit silly compared to the one that I filled in. um, like I said, her brain works differently than mine. All right, so Frostwing is a proudly so all right, so Frostwing is going to be our proper noun, the name of our character. Proudly is going to be our adverb. Ancient is going to be our adjective, and puffin is going to be the animal name, also a noun. Hideously is our adverb, purple, adjective, and car, noun. So unlike the Arctic fox, who was living in a den where Arctic foxes belong, this puffin is living in a hideously purple car. All right, so that's somebody. Now, oh my gosh, now I've forgotten the name. I had Frost. All right, so this is Frostwing. All right, so Frostwing, let's see where Frostwing gets up to here. He wants to drive to the Arctic Circle. So he's not quite in the Arctic Circle. There's the Arctic and then there's the Arctic Circle. So he wants to drive way up north to the Arctic Circle, but he runs into a problem. His car is afraid of the dark. I was going through this and I had this copied and pasted from my story, and she laughed so hard that we kept it. So both my character and Frostwing are, so what is it? Frostine and Frostwing both oh, and the car, not Frostwing, but the car is afraid of the dark in this story. So afraid of the dark in a couple of different places, and it's a real bummer because the Arctic Circle is dark. So here we go. All right, so somebody wants but. Now we're going to say so. So he, as in Frostwing, tries to encourage it with a trail of sugar cookies, but the car prefers veggies. So that does not work out. A little trail like you would see, like Hansel and Gretel, I guess. Trail of sugar cookies, trying to lead the car in the right direction toward the Arctic Circle. And yes, my kid chose the words. This is, yes, I let her I let her do that. She was very, very, very excited about it. But these are the kinds of units that we do together. Yes. So I apologize for how crazy it gets. But that makes it fun. All right. So what happens next? So we are at the end of our story about Frostwing. So we're at the then stage. In the end, Frostwing hires a young puffin named Wintertweet to grow glowing vegetables. Because remember, the car is afraid of the dark and prefers veggies. So these vegetables are going to be glowing. Once the plants are ready, they pick them and take turns throwing them out the window as the car goes forward. Slowly but surely, they reach the Arctic Circle. Hopefully, they also brought enough to make it back home. So that is the story. Let's put it all together. Oh, the screen's frozen for you. Oh, I'm so sorry. um, I will I will share the link to the slides as soon as I'm done here. I can grab the link and then hopefully. And you can't hear. Oh no, that's no good. Amelia, you can still hear me? Okay. All right,
Yeah,
good.
I can hear you still.
All right, wrapping up our story. So Frostwing is a proudly ancient puffin. He lives in a hideously purple car. He wants to drive to the Arctic Circle, but his car is afraid of the dark. He tries to encourage it with a trail of sugar cookies, but the car prefers veggies. In the end, Frostwing hires a young puffin, Wintertweet, to grow glowing vegetables. Once the plants are ready, they pick them and take turns throwing them out the window as the car eases forward. Slowly but surely, they reach the Arctic Circle. So those are our 2 stories. It's silly. That was definitely the idea. We wanted it to be super silly. Um, so those are the 2 stories. I I told you, man, that's my daughter for you. She turns 7 a week from today, and this is how she thinks, which is why I created some creative writing units. I forget exactly how many, Arctic animals there are in the pack. I should know this. I don't off the top of my head. I want to say there are 16, maybe 20. I'm feeling 16 a little bit more. But when you open the unit, you get to pick which animal you would like. And you can create endless stories, really. You can use a different animal each time. You can use the same animal, but have a different story each time following this formula. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If anybody has any questions, I would love to answer them. In the meantime, I can grab the link so you guys have it because that would probably be useful to you. Let's see. I will grab that, exit out here. How do I send that to you, Amelia? Can I post it somewhere? Oh,
In
in the
front of the
private.
mic here. So yeah, you could absolutely send me that link in there should be a private chat tab. Yeah, I see it here. I'll go ahead and copy that link and post it
Perfect.
on the event.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you. Um, let me just see if there are any other comments. 16 animals. Okay. That's what I thought. 16. All right. Well, there are other units as well. If Arctic animals are not your thing, I have all sorts of ones. I have, let's see, there's Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, like all of the major holidays. There's Black History Month, Women's History Month. I have one for the first ladies. Those are all structured, by the way. The Christmas and Thanksgiving and Halloween ones are silly ish like this. The other ones that feature real people are a little bit more serious. I give separate instructions for how to do those and approach those compared to these. Now, of course, you can approach it exactly the same way if you would like. However, I've found that when writing about a real person, that feels a little unfair. But the way that I approach those is putting it in like a dream world. And so you are having this experience, this fake experience with them in a dream world, as opposed to yeah, them living in like a hideously purple car. Hopefully that makes sense. But I'm adding these units more and more. I have a whole bunch of opinion writing units. In fact, you can get them year round. There's at least one for every month, if not more than one. And so as I go, I'm actually updating those units right now. And as I go, I'm also creating the creative writing version of it as well. How do you reload? Oh no. I think just refresh the page and I think it will.
Yeah,
Correct me if I'm wrong. But hopefully you can come back in.
yeah,
Um,
it should. Yeah, if you reload, if you just refresh the page, then you should be able to get back in.
okay.
Um, if you guys are interested in getting more awesome units like this, I highly suggest that you go to Heather's website. It's store.heatherhuman.com. And I also included a link to her all access pass so that you can actually get access to 120 different resources just like this. And just use the coupon code homeschool23, all caps, to get 30 days free of her all access pass. So really worth the affordable cost, and then you also get 30 days free as well. So
I and I would add to that that the coupon code is only good until a week from today. So
yes,
definitely act fast on that because it does expire. This is not like a forever thing.
yes, it is just, we just have a little bit of time left for that code to be valid. So if you enjoyed this unit, you're going to enjoy her other units as well. So go ahead and take a look at those on her website, or visit the All Access Pass page that I put on the screen there. If anyone has any other questions, feel free to comment. If you're watching the replay, please share your fun stories in the comments so that we
Yes.
can be able to see them. We would really look forward to seeing what you guys all come up with.
Yes, I cannot wait to read people's stories. I am very, very, very excited about that. So I hope, yeah, I hope you do it. And even if you don't pick the Arctic animals one, like I said, I have others. I have other animals ones as well, I believe. There are zoo animals and endangered animals and all of the animals. We're very big into animals in this house. So there are other animals units if like the Arctic ones don't float your boat. So please do sign up, like Amelia said, for the all access pass. You get access to download all of the things in the next 30 days. And yeah, please, please, please drop your stories. I cannot wait to read them.
Thank you so much for coming on, Heather. We really appreciate it, and this was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, everyone, have a good rest of your day. We will talk to you again soon.
Bye.
Bye.